All right, this is Cowboy Joe with Father and Son Cowboys and Sports Talk. We're going live to speak with our special guest, B.Bird. We're going to do a show. Appreciate you guys joining. Jules, can you hear me? All right. Do you have me, B-Bird?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you
I'm finna
good.
log off though.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. B-Bird, how's it going? How was your day?
Everything was good, man. Just work as always. Just trying to
Yeah.
make a buck. That's about it.
I watched your show this morning in the doctor's office.
Oh, cool, man. Appreciate you supporting, man.
So tell us about just kind of let's just go into the preseason game. Just give us your thoughts about what you saw Saturday night, what you didn't see, and let's just kind of take a look back at that, and then we'll talk about the next week.
Oh shoot, hold 1 second.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I from the scrimmage, the things I heard, it seemed like it was a continuation over into the game. Not a lot of physicality, not a lot of energy being shown. Resting a lot of players, which I had an issue with, and I think a lot of other content creators had an issue with. We know about the star players. We do understand resting those guys and protecting those guys, but we had some names in there that probably need to get some run that did not get any. So everything and all the to me all the good that was coming out of camp kind of dissipated, with the scrimmage and the game. So I think it was a letdown, but it's the first one, so we'll just see what they do with Baltimore next.
Yeah, so it was kind of odd when we were watching the game Saturday night. Um, had a little company at the house, and it was just puzzling when I started seeing the lineup and the guys that were not playing. And Booker, Sam Williams. It was just
Yeah,
really strange to see that they set all of those guys. And when you look at the tone that the Shotty was trying to set, it to me it was a little bit of a step back for Shotty to come
yeah.
out the way he did. And I had a conversation going with you, and I want you to talk about this. I said, now I want to know whose idea was it to sit these players? Was it a front office decision alone? Was it a combined, decision? So you're kind of leaning toward it was just the front office wanting to protect the guys.
Well, yeah, I'm more of a I'm 100% on the front office. The reason why is because when you have three different coaches but the same philosophy, it's not coming from three different coaches. This happened after Tony Romo got injured, and so from that point on, they're afraid to play their players. Those things just happen in football. So it's not a shoddy thing. It's a Joneses thing. They're trying to protect their assets. You remember what he said in the opening press conference about Dak missing games and Parsons missing games and stuff like that. And he didn't say that like off the cuff. He was really like, "Hey, I'm paying these players. I want to get 17 games out of them if I'm paying them," as though they're asking for injury. But yeah, I think it's a Joneses thing because you got to look at the common thread amongst all of them. It's the Joneses, man.
So one of the things we've talked about in this 30-year drought, and I know you are the kind of work that you do for a living, and I was in the corporate world for almost 30 years, and one of the things that we did, and I talked to you about this on I think the first show that we did, is we would just go out and look at mom and pop companies to see what works, and just do a lot of analysis. And I was in hundreds and thousands of meetings, and what we were looking at is what things work, what were the trends. And it just seems like for 30 years this organization, they just don't do that. They don't look at what other teams do. They don't look at the 49ers, the Ravens, the Eagles, the Chiefs. So I just can't believe this, that there's nobody at the start is telling Jerry and Steven, this is what the Chiefs do in preseason, let's mimic that. But this is what put us here. This is why we keep doing what we're doing. It is like a broken record. Don't you agree?
Yeah, what it is, man, is that I remember when we won our last Super Bowl in '95. Barry Switzer turned with the trophy, turned to Jerry and said, "We did it our way, baby."
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget that because at that point in time, I said, "Man," I said, I said, "I don't know, if we're gonna get back here," and we hadn't. But what that says is that it was more important not just to win, but to win his way. Jerry has had a chip on his shoulder because when he first got into the league, people laughed at him and called him a hillbilly and didn't know football and this, that, and other. Well, the one thing that you can't do with a successful person is call them a failure and laugh at him and humiliate him. That's what he was when he went to these GM meetings, these owner meetings, and things of that sort. So he's hell bent on winning his way rather than just winning because that doesn't satisfy him, right? Because if you really think about the '95 Super Bowl, he thought that, okay, this is it. I've gotten the ghost of Jimmy behind me. But what everybody said, you did it with Jimmy's team.
Mm-hmm.
You did it with Jimmy's players. You did it with the remnants of Jimmy's culture. And so that's just what it is, man. And he don't want to. That's why you ever notice he doesn't sign free agents that were free agents that are successful on other teams. He want to sign free agents that were like high draft picks that were failures on other teams because he wants to rehabilitate them. He wanted it all to be homegrown, man, because that's the way he gets all the credit for winning. You know what I'm saying? Like if he was to bring in a quarterback of Tom Brady's ilk, they're gonna say, "Oh, Brady did that." So he doesn't want that. He wants to set up to where he gets all the credit for it, man. And so they're searching for credit. They don't want to copy anybody else's formula. They want their formula to win because when they win, if they win, they want to get all the credit and be able to say, "I told you so."
Yep. And so we want to give a shout out to great legend, Christopher Lester, Aubrey 2.0. Appreciate you guys joining the show. So B-Bird, go ahead and promote your channel here at the front here so we can let everybody know that you have started your channel. We want people to go and subscribe to B-Bird. So just talk about your channel here for a minute.
Yeah, it's B.Bird Cowboys. Just started the channel, man. It's growing. It's growing pretty fast, to be honest, which is better than I expected. I haven't did a live. I've been dropping just videos or like a 20-minute video. I'm really from the top down, like the front office down. I will talk. I will talk X's and O's when the season starts and things of that sort. But I really want to get I think if you get the head of the organization, the structure right, I think everything else will follow. I actually think we've had teams good enough to win. The structure hadn't been there. Like our coach has not been the point man. The face of our organization is Jerry Jones, and so I'm really trying to shed light on that. I've been saying that for years, Cowboy Joe. You've been hearing me on these Sky Show
Mm-hmm.
or all these other shows. I call in Boss Cowboy, and that's the angle I take. That's not the easy angle. Everybody wants to be Dak, Suggs, Zeke, or something like that, or Romo. But at some point in time, we got to get it off the players and say, hey, other teams are winning with similar talent than we have. Why aren't we winning? And what you do is you go to the top and see how that is and see if everything is right there. Our test case was the Washington Commanders. I mean, they changed the top, the front office personnel, head coach, and quarterback, and you see what happened. You get the toxicity out of the front office, and everybody's about football and the product on the football field, you'll see the change. But as you see with the Joneses, where were they this week? Netflix debut. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tough situation, and I like to kind of speak on that because I think a lot of people turn a blind eye to it, and the reason why they do it is because emotionally, if I accept that, then I'm accepting that we may not win the Super Bowl anytime soon. And I'm based on facts, man. That's what I do. I deal with facts, and it is what it is. And so I'm not going to paint anybody a picture. I was listening to CFO, and he was like, "Man, look, I know if I just did positive lollipops and gumdrop content, I would get a lot of followers. I just can't do it." One of his things was, now I know too much, and I can't just be a blissful fan. And that's correct, man. I think Jules, Cowboy Joe, y'all the same way, man. Like we know too much now to whereas we know kind of what the issue is, and now we're trying to fix it.
Yep, and appreciate that. So I'm Cowboy Joe, father and son, Cowboys and Sports Talk. My son and I, we started our channel the beginning of last season, and again, just trying to bring something new to the space. My son is a college student, so we're gonna do some shows where he's not gonna be on. He's out in class doing different things. So appreciate B-Bird coming on, and we're doing like an OG broadcast here tonight, just me and
Yeah.
B-Bird. So I think one of the things that we can speak to, we've been around for a minute.
Yeah.
B.Bird and so we've seen the last 30 years had a front row seat to it, and so it just goes back to that analysis I'm talking about. When you've been doing the same thing for 30 years, it's just still stunning to watch every day how you're still doing the same things that you've been doing. This show that's coming out. I personally said I wasn't going to watch it. My son does want to watch it because a lot of the things that they're going to be talking about, he hadn't really seen it.
Correct.
So, but again, it's just another example of how the focus is not on football. You got
Yes.
all of the sideshow stuff going on, and I want to ask you about this. I got a long running argument with my best friend and my son, and what I've said over the years is if Jerry could just get lucky and hire the right coach, he might be able to just get lucky and do something and make it to an NFC championship game. So do you agree that sometimes you can get lucky and just hire the right coach and they can make it to an NFC championship game? But do you believe that this thing is just so off the rails with all of the entertainment and all the other stuff that he really can't get the right coach?
Well, the right coach is somebody that I think when you have a loose organization like this, the right coach is kind of a kick butt type, take no prisoners type coach. If that's what if your culture is loose and soft, which I think we are, we're corporate. I think you got to have somebody come in and shake things up. But the problem with that is that's an A type personality coach, and the Joneses don't want an A type personality coach. They want somebody to be deferent to them. So I do think the only reason, if I didn't think that they could still win, that I wouldn't watch anymore. I still have
Mhm.
hope that they'll get a coach in that can transform, that can work with Jerry, maybe sell Jerry on some ideas that Jerry think is his, but is actually the coach's. And I was watching Frankly Football. I forgot Frankly Football, and so they were saying that hey, we need a salesman type coach. And I was like, yeah, that's probably what we need, like somebody that can sell Jerry because he's not going to hire that A type coach, that alpha coach that's going to be say and that the Fox Sports and ESPN is going to point to and say, hey, he's the guy, he's the head of this team, not Jerry anymore, because Jerry don't want that. So I think we can get a coach in here, and I think we can just get lucky. But of course, that now we're waiting on luck to win. You know what I'm saying? That's not kind of how we want to do it. But I think that's where we are now.
So another part of my thought on this is, I kind of look at coaches. You got kind of there kind of two or three categories. You got your fire and brimstone like Jimmy Johnson, Bill Parcells, and then you've got your geniuses, the guys that have like a really terrific system. And then
Yes.
sometimes you have a guy that's kind of in between. That's kind of what Tom Landry was. That's kind of what Belichick was. They're
Hmm.
kind of in between. And so I just think what's happening with Jerry, he's never been able to get that fire and brimstone coach. But on the other hand, he hasn't really been able to find that genius coach, that Tom McVay, the Kyle Shanahan. He thought
Yeah.
that's what Gary was. He
That's
wasn't
what
even
Gary.
close. But my hope with Shadi was I was thinking maybe he gets lucky and hires a Kyle Shanahan or a McVay type. So
Yeah.
do you think we just missed the mark with Shadi? He's not one of those guys.
Let me say this. Let's not judge him too fast, right? This is one preseason game. We got to wait to see. He said that we were playing vanilla. My objection to that is that everybody else is playing vanilla too, right? So it's not
Hmm.
like the Rams are showing their stuff. But we to be honest with you, we do have to give them, get into the season and see how things look after the first 3 or 4 games, and then make a judgment. It was one preseason game. It's his first game as a head coach ever, so we do have to give him a break. It was disappointing, and we kind of overreacting to it because of the season that we had. The Green Bay loss still haunts us. So any little thing negative, we like, oh, there we go again. So honestly, we got to give him a little bit of time just to see what he does, man. We can't judge him too fast. Um, we'll see how the season goes because hey, he might come out with a whole different game plan and everything. He might just be hiding everything at this point.
I kind of agree with that, and shout out to Lou's Take. So I watched a couple of his videos the last couple of days, and so what I did notice in watching the game live, he had some guys that were wide open. Okay, and Joe Milton left a lot of points on the board, some big plays. We're going to talk about Joe Milton here in just a minute, but so I did see, uh, a little bit of a flow to the offense. The running game looked good. The offensive line actually they played pretty well. I watched Lou's offensive line breakdown. I don't know if you saw it, but
No, I didn't.
the line they played surprisingly well. I'm gonna tell you, Bass and Hoffman, whenever they get a chance to play, they play well and they play pretty good in this game. Now I don't think you want to see them starting 17 games, but the line. So to your point, once we get everybody in, I think you're probably going to feel better about this thing. I don't know what they're going to do this Saturday, but I agree with you. We do got to give them a little time. And I want to talk, just flip over real quick. I want to talk about a major concern I have, and that's this defense. So, where were you when they hired Eberflus and the Eberflus scheme? Just tell me, how did you feel about that hire? Because that's the one that I'm still concerned about.
Well, it was so, right? Like, it was a so hiring to me. But what I am is I'm saying, okay, maybe Shotty knows what he's doing. So maybe it's something I don't see. We have to be able to stop the run. Now, one thing too is that I don't know because listening to a Collier on Mozzie, and
I like
man, he said
Okoye.
positive things about Mozzie, but everybody else is down on him. But the thing is, Collier actually watches the film,
Hmm.
so I have a bad, and I know I'm going to Mozzie, but I have a bad, like my mindset on Mozzie isn't good at this point either. Um, Now, one thing about Okoye's video, he was comparing it to Jay Toia, but we talk about a 7th round rookie versus a 1st round 3rd year player. So the
Hmm.
comparison shouldn't even be made, to be totally honest with you. But we have to get serious about two things: stopping the run first, man. We got to be able to stop the run, and we can't stop the run, then everything else doesn't even matter. So with the Evil Blues, going back to your question, it was just a so hiring to me. I'm in the wait and see mode for that.
So I have a theory on Eberflus. So we did a little research on this. So when you're a head coach, you for the most part you got a guaranteed contract. So if you get fired as a head coach, the team that hired you, they still owe you money.
Yeah.
So if you get rehired, the team that's rehiring you, the other team, they're kind of getting you at a discount. So I got a theory on Eberflus, and I haven't been able to just really just nail it down. But one of my theories on Eberflus is the reason that he was the immediate first choice for them was Jerry and Steven during their typical thing where they're trying to go cheap on a coach. I believe if they had to hire another coordinator with a brand new contract, it's going to cost them more. And so what Shotty did with Connor Riley, the offensive line coach, with Clayton Adams, they were innovative, open, up and coming coaches. They were coaches that other teams wanted.
Hmm.
I don't think anybody else wanted Eberflus. So my theory is they hired him because they getting him on the cheap. And so that's just kind of my concern with the hire. So my question to you is, do you believe Eberflus was a Shotty hire or a Jerry and Steven hire?
Usually, I would say I'm gonna tell you. I listened to you the other day when you said that, right?
Hmm.
And you have some other things that make that uh, you know not a conspiracy theory, but some truth behind it. Well, you ask, okay, do they go cheap on coaches? Well, was Mike McCarthy the second lowest paid player coach in the NFL? Well,
He was.
yes.
Yep.
Where do they go for players? UFL, undrafted free agents. They love those guys. And a draft. Every place I just named to get players are cheap. They had the cheapest coaching staff of all last year, and their head coach for the most valuable team in the world was the 31st ranked paid head coach last year. So if you asking me, would Eberflus be attracted to them because of his salary being low? Yes. So I heard you say that the other day. That was a good take. I never had thought about it, but after thinking about it, and you look at their actions, you know, if a guy, if a person shops at Marshall and Ross, well then somebody say, well, he got his tennis shoes from Walmart. Well, that kind of goes with everything else, and so you can believe that. And so that's just the way they operate, man. They operate trying to be the most physically efficient football team they can put out there on the field.
And then you and I were chatting on Twitter a few weeks ago, and I don't know if you did see the Greg Ellis interview on DLS. So Greg Ellis was basically saying that Mozzie was in the wrong system. He wasn't really confident this is going to work out for him because what they're asking Mozzie to do, they really want him to get upfield.
Yeah,
So
he's not built for that.
yeah, and that's the concern I have with this scheme, B-Bird. This scheme, it asks your defensive tackles to get upfield. And what happens is when you do that, it just the gap that you're leaving is open, and
Yeah,
it exposes your linebacker. And players like LVE, Clark, if you don't have stout, sturdy linebackers to fill those gaps, you're gonna have a problem. And then Saturday night we saw it. Some of the alignment and the scheme we saw Saturday night with this defense, they were actually lining up, creating a hole for the running back to run through.
yeah.
And so my concern again is Jerry and Steven once again, not being football guys, have they done it again? This scheme to me, it's a huge concern, and I'm not confident that they want to get a one tech. We've been hearing a lot of talk about one tech with a lot of content creators. Shout out to
Yeah.
Boss and people like that. But my question to you, B-Bird, is one, do they really want to get a one tech? And then two, are we running a scheme that uses a one tech?
Well, yeah, that's the thing because if they don't want to use them, it's no sense of getting a stout, a bucket of dirt type trash can full of dirt type guy. But one of the things I think the Joneses have suffered from is being on the wrong end of the curve. Let me explain that. Contrarians really do succeed in this league. So the offense has gotten so good at passing the ball, right? And so what the defense has to do is to adjust to that, man. So really a nickel corner is almost a starter now. You got to have linebackers that can run, linebackers that can run with the tight ends, that can get back. Safeties that's almost, can have cover corner skills. So that's what you have to do to stop the passing game now. But see, what I think what you ought to do at that point in time is run the ball because the defense is not set up for the run; it's set up for the pass.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to what you're saying about the defense, them trying to basically on our way to the quarterback, we'll stop the run. Nah, man, people are turning. That curve is turning to running the ball more. Look at what put Philadelphia over. Saquon Barkley did in the run game. The offensive line did. So what if you really think about what Philadelphia was last year? They really was the '90s Cowboys. They ran the ball until you stopped them, and then you put enough assets to stop the run. They had a quarterback and a wide receiver combo with a tight end that was lethal. They just don't use them all the time. And so I think they're still building their team, getting Pickens. I love the pickup, but we still shouldn't be. I have disagreements with some content creators because they say, hey, you still got this a passing league. No, it's not. They want you to believe it's a passing league. It is not a passing league. It may be a passing league, but the way to win is to run the ball and to stop the run. And that's going to always be the case. So the theory hey, get upfield, get after the quarterback, and if they're running the ball, stop the run on the way there. To me, that's going to be antiquated after a while.
Well, it already is, and I'm gonna take you back to where we started. I'm gonna put you back in these meetings, these corporate meetings, and you're looking at reports and you're analyzing your performance, and you ain't really got to be a big corporation to do it. I'm sure that the job that you're in your world, you're always looking at what's going wrong. What have you been doing the last 10 years, last 20 years? It is just stunning to me that they have not been in a meeting, Stephen, Jerry, McClay, and somebody is now putting up on a big screen saying, we have not been able to stop the run in years. We haven't stopped the run. When was the last time we did stop the run? It was in the 90s.
Yes.
So you mean to tell me you go an entire offseason and that's not your number one priority? That's not the thing that just you're talking about every day? How I just don't understand how this happens. And you don't bring a scheme in that number one is to stop the run, because your corners, you got corners, you got good cover people. Why wouldn't you just say, I'm putting all the chips on the table to stop the run. How is that not happening?
So, name the two best coaches you think they brought in, with the exception of Shadi.
Over the last 30 years?
No, no, no. I'm talking about on this staff right now.
Oh, right now it's Connor Riley and Clayton Adams
Where they play at?
on the offensive side.
Okay. So then you say, okay, what's the biggest acquisition that we got in the offseason?
George Pickens.
All offense.
Yep.
So they don't put the same emphasis on the defense as they do on the offense, man. They just don't. And so since they hadn't done it, offense has been more or less, even in 2023, you know what we were? We were a front running team that got early leads, which made the other team have to pass, and we had pass rushing guys. Nobody when you get the lead so big, the other team can't run the ball down your throat. But if you remember that year, Arizona did it. They were successful just running the ball on us and beat us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, other teams couldn't adopt that strategy because they were down. So it was never about stopping the run. Even then, everybody was talking about our defense, and we were really turnover reliant team, and we got a lot of turnovers. But the turnovers don't come in the playoffs. Sometimes you cannot count and depend on where we're going to get 3 turnovers a game. And so in the playoffs, you got to have. I was talking to Sky, and I said, man, they talking about what kind of defense we want, and they talking about the coach was talking about turnovers, this and turnover, even And I said, man, look, I want a 1, 2, 3 and out defense, like 3 downs and out defense, because that's the thing you could take on the road. A defense that can stop the run, that's what you can take on the road, because that's what you're going to need in Green Bay, Philadelphia, Washington, in those cold places. You're going to need somebody to be able to stop the run, man. And so I just their philosophy of really putting the resources into the offense, and I think what it is I hate to say it, but they just really want to they want to score points and be flashy and all that kind of stuff. If nothing else fails, they don't want to lose. They don't want to have a team to lose 17-10. They want to, hey, we want to lose 37 to 31. But that's kind of it for me, man, on that.
Yeah, and they've been doing the same thing for 30 years, and it hasn't worked. Shout out to a big time show. How you doing, Nuke? Good evening to you. We're gonna have to do an OG broadcast. Me, you,
Oh
and
yeah, that'd be great.
B.Bird, the OGs. We might have to call it that
Oh,
show.
big time.
The OGs. Yeah, he's one of our guys. But yeah, and so look with Mozzie. Look, we're not gonna just get down on him and and pile on, but you just got to say it's really not fair to him in the way they've changed defenses. They doing this thing with his weight, which is one of the other craziest things I've ever heard. This
Yeah,
front
me
office,
too, man.
this front office, they just do a lot of stuff that you just say to yourself. And I keep just going back to I have a grandson. He just turned 6, and you can just go look at the Sesame Street. The way they do it, they just put up 5 objects, and you got 4 apples, and you got an orange. And the 49ers, the Ravens, the Eagles, and the Chiefs, they're the apple, and the Cowboys are the orange. And you can put that graphic up in front of a room with them, and they just don't see that they're an orange. And in some cases, they brag about it. They actually brag about that they do things different. But it's just no accountability. No one. I watch a lot of content, and I really haven't heard. I've seen a lot of press conferences, and maybe you've seen them. I haven't seen a lot of press conferences where they're even asked about stopping the run. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it either. I don't know if there's, I don't know if it's on their list as far as people is asking questions, but I hadn't seen them that question be asked either, man. But
It's just bizarre. It's just stunning to watch.
yeah, yeah. I heard you say something earlier. Let's go back to it because I think you think like I do, and I heard something else today too that's going to solidify me in this. Because I tweeted somebody today and told them they said I can't. Anybody that say they're not going to watch this documentary, they lying to themselves. And I tweeted back. I said I'm 95% sure I'm not going to watch this documentary. The only way I'll watch it if somebody tells me, "Hey, you got to see this, man. You have got to see this. Is new." And then I heard somebody that saw the whole thing say, "If you're a '90s Cowboy fan, if you're old enough to remember it, then it's not going to be anything new in this thing. And that solidified me. I don't want to support that, man, because that's if it's not about the football field, man, or on-field production. I just don't want to support it. You get what I'm saying? And I think you
Yeah.
kind of feel the same way about that. I know a lot about the '90s. They might show me glimpse some. I might glean some more from it, but I just don't want to support, you know, that kind of stuff, man. Not just for the entertainment stuff. I just don't want to support it. What's your reason for not wanting to watch it?
The same. It's just
Yeah,
it's just something to it's the blue Kool-Aid. I'm just not gonna drink it. I mean, it's
yeah,
just I don't really again, I've seen pretty much everything they're gonna show. And I'll do you one better, and you might not believe this, but back in the day, I was not a Jordan fan. Okay.
yeah.
My team back in the day was the Pistons. I was a bad boy.
Okay.
And so when I grew up in Dallas, you know, we didn't get a the Mavericks didn't become a franchise to my senior year in high school. So growing up, I was actually a Sixer fan. I was a Dr. J fan. So you know, I
Mhm.
never liked the Lakers. And then my wife, she went to high school with Dennis Rodman here in
Okay.
Dallas. In Dallas,
Yeah,
so
Dallas. Yeah.
I started following Dennis Rodman, so I became a Pistons fan. So I said I'll have to say this: the documentary on the Bulls, what was it called? I can't even remember the name of it. I should.
Last Dance.
I didn't watch it
Yeah,
because I pretty much had seen it, you know,
yeah.
just kind of being involved with the Bulls and with the Pistons. So I can pretty much tell you I'm not gonna watch it, and I just don't see myself changing. But I can tell you this right here. I said if I watched it, it would just be for content creation purposes.
Correct.
But
Correct.
I'm not even sure that's you know. So what do you think about that?
Well, I left 5% chance just in case I do, but I just don't want to support that end of the Cowboy stuff.
Hmm.
I'm just kind of done with that. The entertainment value part of it. So it's just like it's everything that a GM should be doing at this point in time. We out there struggling with our running game, needing a starting corner, and we out at movie premieres in Hollywood. Nah, especially with something I already know what's going on. But also had a different thing, man. I'm gonna say something here.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said this on my video earlier, and I have a theory here, and it's not gonna be popular. I can tell you that. But I think, especially Emmitt Smith, I think they revel in the fact that they're the last team to win a championship in Dallas.
Hmm.
I think they don't mind if the Cowboys went farther, but it would dim their light. And
Mm.
so I don't think that they necessarily hate the fact that the Cowboys aren't winning because we always go back to the '90s. Suppose we had won a Super Bowl in '14. Well, then wouldn't they be going back and talking to Dez? Wouldn't they be going back talking to Romo?
Hmm.
Wouldn't they be going back talking to what's our running back name? I said it earlier.
DeMarco Murray.
Marco Murray, the offensive line then. So they would have competition on, who won the last championship and the championship team. They wouldn't be the only one. But I'll tell you this. So people might say that's crazy, but let's talk about this. And I think all the 72 Dolphins, I don't know if any of them are still living, but what did they used to do when the last team lost their first game?
Pop the champagne bottle.
Pop the champagne bottle. Why? Because they wanted to be the only one that won undefeated. And so I don't think that because I see Emmett at all the guys at the premiere and some of the things that they say or whatever. But to me, even what Emmett said about the contract situation of the players, they didn't have to go through the '90s Cowboys did not have to go through this Jerry Jones. They went through a more normal organizational structure. They had Jerry, who was trying to get the finances turned around.
Hmm.
Then he left all the football stuff to Jimmy, who was the pseudo GM. Jimmy had just got out of college. I think you said this too. And so he knew all the college players. That's why he drafted well. Orchestrated the Herschel Walker trade. And that was it. Then we was on our way up. But then when we got the finances straight, and then Jerry started turning inward and saw all the adulation that Jimmy was getting, he wanted some of that.
Hmm.
And that's what started the thing. When he got out of his place as an owner and started to want to do other things and kind of, be more assertive in the organization, We haven't been the same since.
Yeah, and I think your theory, there's some validity to it. I think Michael Irvin is pretty passionate about the Cowboys, and he wants to see them win. Yeah, I want to share something with you before I forget. So I kind of consider myself a Cowboy historian. So I told you,
Yeah,
back in the day, I went to a lot of the games. For the most part, my best friend, he was almost like a season ticket holder. So the year that Emmett held out, they played the Buffalo Bills. It was a rematch. They played them on a Sunday at Texas
yeah, I
Stadium.
remember that.
We was at the game. So we was on about the 20-yard line, sitting down. We had very good seats. We were sitting down pretty low. So to my left, I'm gonna say about 30 feet away from me, the sideline reporter was OJ Simpson. Just
Yeah,
you see him just like I'm sitting here right now looking at you.
yeah.
About 2 feet next to him was Nicole Brown Simpson. So
Wow.
I saw Nicole Brown Simpson and OJ at the game, the second game that Emmett missed, and of course, and that evening, Charles Haley threw the helmet through the wall, and Emmett got signed. But I was at the Buffalo game that they lost, and
Yeah.
saw Nicole Brown Simpson and OJ. They were on the sideline. So
So we started back in the days, man. We started a thing where all the fellas got in some vans and drove up to Dallas. Well, we went down there. That's our first year trying to go down there, and we tried to go to a game. We thought we was going to walk up to the game. Well, after they won a Super Bowl, it wasn't easy to get the tickets. So we ended up going to Dallas for that game, and we ended up going to a dude we knew house up there. And we all sat around TV and watched it up there. So we was up in Dallas at the same game, man. But we
wow.
couldn't get in because we didn't have the knowledge that should have got the tickets early, should have did this, should have did that. And so what it started, we started going to the game every year after that for like 10 years. So
Now, what game are you going to this year? Have you selected a game?
yeah, so I got flights. Southwest is having a sale, so I jumped in on the flights for the Vikings game. That'll be a Sunday night game.
Okay. Well,
So I think it's right before like the 17th or something like that. So I'll be going to that game. But me and my wife and my two youngest will fly down.
yeah, and so I think what we're gonna do this year. So my cousin, he plays for Texas. So Colin Simmons, he was the freshman of the year last year,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
so we're gonna probably go to a Texas game. And believe it or not, the Texas tickets they more expensive than the Cowboys tickets. So I think we're gonna go to a Texas game. I'm not sure if we're gonna make a Cowboy game, but definitely when you come up, well, we'll definitely want to try to hook up.
Oh,
But
definitely, man.
yeah. So this Saturday, what are you thinking they're gonna do? Are they gonna sit the starters again? Because if they don't play any this Saturday, they're not playing in game 3. So how do you think they're gonna approach it?
Well, watch it because they could play in game three. Because you remember now these three preseason games thing just started what like last year or year before last,
And
maybe year
they
before
got a
last.
week break in between, so they could.
Yeah. So what they've done now is that's not that the third game used to be the game where you would play your players. Then the
Hmm.
last game, that's just the people that's going to make the team. You wouldn't play any starters at that point in time. But so I don't know how they do it now. They may actually play somebody in that in the third game. They may play them in the third game and then give them a couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying, to rest. I don't know
Hmm.
how they're going to do it, but it'd be great. I think they're getting a lot of pressure about resting these guys. They do. The Cowboys are tapped into social media, so I think they may play some guys. Maybe your Williams and your Bookers. Booker has to play sometime in the preseason. His first snap against
It
a
can't be. Yeah,
professional
it can't be against
player,
Philly.
it can't be against Philly. There's no way
Yeah.
that they're going to do that because that's just now you're just bubble wrapping the season, man.
And
So
that
I think
might be why that might be not to sorry to cut you out. That might be why they're
that's right.
playing Bass and Hoffman because they may have to play them against Philly. But yeah, you don't want to have him out there in that game. And probably what you may see, and they do this, they may play Booker some and play Bass or Hoffman. And another theory I have to go to what you were saying earlier with content creators, a lot of content creators are talking about this one tech so much. What this team does, they'll just not get a one tech to spite the content creators and the media. They do stuff like that.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely petty. I can tell you that much because what's going on with Michael Parsons is petty, man. So they're definitely that. So I don't put anything past them, man. So
So where
Um,
do you see the Michael thing going? Do you think he'll be signed before the first game? I'm predicting September 2nd, which is I think a couple of days before the game.
I think you got to almost do, if they're going to do it, they got to do similar to what they did to CD, because you can't bring him in a couple of days before because he hadn't practiced. He's doing
Hmm.
he's not sitting out, he's sitting in, but he's not practicing. So you have to actually bring him in. To me, if he's going to play the first game, you got to bring him in like at least 3 weeks before the first game starts.
So I did. I
And this,
think I did see today he wasn't there today. He sat out. Well,
yeah.
not because he was sitting out, but he just didn't practice today. And
One thing I don't understand, man, is this. I don't understand. I heard somebody passionately defending or going at the players, and he wasn't going hard at the players. I was listening to the Law Show yesterday,
mm,
and guys say, "Well, Michael said he was going to sign for 30 million, and 40 million is different, and this, that, and other." I would tell anybody that says that kind of stuff is the negotiations between the GM and the agent. It's not with the player. The GM cannot sign a contract under value and then expect him to get other clients. It's just not going to happen. And so I just don't understand how after the CD negotiations, the DAC negotiations, um, and now the Parsons negotiation, that you can actually take ownership side on that. Michael's had the top players in Michael's draft class have all been signed well before training camp. Micah went to him last year and wanted to talk contract. They would have saved money then.
mhm.
I think Michael Parsons has done everything he could to expedite signing the contract. And one thing I would say to that person that was yesterday was like the Joneses haven't even picked up the phone to call the agent. The agent have called them. They haven't even called him back. So I don't know where this thing is going, man. I don't know if they're trying to set a precedent, for the league or whatever. But I just don't know where it's going, to be honest with you.
So going back to our board meeting, I've been talking about all throughout this content here is one of the other screens graphics you're gonna see in that board meeting is you guys have been doing contracts this way for the last 30 years and we're losing big, and I just can't believe nobody's pointed that out to him, which is pretty scary. So Micah's agent, uh, David Mulugeta, he's a Dallas guy, and he
Yeah.
went to Skyline High School here. We actually met him. He was at a camp that we were at. Really, really nice guy. But I think the NBA, they tried to do this thing with Rich Paul, where some of the owners tried to sort of freeze him out of some things. It didn't work. And what they were saying about Rich Paul was he didn't have his degree and he really wasn't a valid
Yeah.
agent. Well, David Mulugeta graduated from University of Texas, so they can't say that. So. Uh, So I
Yeah.
think I think he got him. He got him.
Hey, hey. So me and you both know that we're not going to say anything about this, but that has something to do with it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think if he had a different hue of representation, this thing would be moving on a little bit sooner and faster. But that's just my opinion. Because then you say, well, why do you say that? Because they have a history of doing things a little bit sideways
Hmm.
to players of a certain hue. I just don't remember them going hard in the media about Martin's contract, Frederick's contract. Those guys, they had contracts, but they never went to the media and tried to badmouth those guys or down talk them or just say some things like they said about Micah, Dak, and CD. And so it's a little bit of something there. Put it that way, man. And I think that's just my opinion, man. I'm not speaking for you.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Katharina. So you're looking at father and son, Cowboys and Sports Talk. You also have B.Bird. He just started his new show. So I'm gonna try to text my son to put the link up for your show. So what we gonna do,
Well,
B.Bird?
we might be live on it right now. I was messing with it
Okay.
beforehand.
Okay.
But one thing I was going to tell you is, for one thing, and then we're going to get off subject right here just for a little bit, if you don't mind.
Oh, no problem.
I told you that I've admired Duncanville, that South Dallas football, man, for a while. And that team that had Kate Durham on it, Colin Simmons on it, man, that might be one of it got to be top two or three football teams that I've seen play, man. And those guys are outstanding. Colin Simmons, I watched the University of Texas just to watch him play because I
Hmm.
admired him from afar, man. And Kate Durham, I think I may have told you this before. When he started, I just couldn't. I knew he was going to start as a freshman. The reason why I couldn't envision no running back better than him. You know what I'm saying? I
Did
was
he go?
like,
He
well,
went
who?
to LSU, right?
Yeah, he is the LSU,
So how
and
did he do?
he started his freshman year, made all SEC and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they got all kinds of players. Then you got the kid that went to Oregon, the wide receiver this year. So they're just that team, that Duncanville, that DeSoto, and Cedar Hill just continue to put out players, man. They just it's kind of great seeing them. And also too, man. Here we go. I'm not trying to get on this, man, but on this vein. But you know, they saying some things that we can't do as far as coaching and winning a 5A, 6A state championship can't be done. But Duncanville, DeSoto, and South Oak Cliff proved that wrong, man. So I just
Yeah.
I know Houston and Dallas always have a rivalry,
Mm-hmm.
but it's almost like the Philadelphia Eagles for me, in the sense of at some point in time I got to tip my hat to them. Like I can not like them, but I got to say, hey, they're running the organization correctly. That's the way you improve, man. We talk about how the Joneses, and I'm pivoting a little bit, how the Joneses improve. How you improve yourself is just go and take a realistic look at yourself. I'm talking about me as an individual. What do I have to do, right? Like if I want to lose weight, okay, do I need to? What do I need to do? What's my diet like? What's my workout regimen like? If that's all over the place, well then that's where you start at, and you take some serious looks at yourself and say, no, I got to change this if I want to be healthier. I got to change that if I want to be lighter. I got to change this. I got to go to the gym. I got to do these things, and not look at yourself saying, oh, I'm okay for my age. I'm okay. No, you change all that stuff, and that's what the Cowboys aren't willing to do. Look at themselves and say, we have not been to the NFC Championship game in 30 years, the longest by far in the NFC. But why, what are we doing differently than these other teams? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why can't we get there? What are we doing in the organization that's different? And they just won't take that look at themselves. Or maybe they have taken it and realized they're Jerry and Steven are the outliers, and they say we're just not going to do nothing about that because we love being around football so much that we don't want to be away from it, even if it means winning.
It's so frustrating to watch. And so we have family out in Frisco. So I have a cousin that lives out there. Matter of fact, my best friend that I was talking about earlier that I went to the games with, he married my cousin. That's another story. But they live out in Frisco. So whenever I go out and visit my best friend and my cousin, we drive by the Star. And they call it the $1 billion mile. And so it's a stretch of freeway from, I believe it's like Lebanon, and it may be all the way down to Beltline. I forget what the streets are, but when you drive that $1 billion mile, when you see the investment and you see the buildings, it's just like everything you can imagine. It's the facilities, it's the restaurants. It's literally like $1 billion worth of business over there. And then when you look at that, and when you look at the team, the way they ran the team, it's like they do everything from a football standpoint, like from a thrift store, like a Dollar General.
Yes.
So when you see the $1 billion mile, and then you look at what they've been doing the last 30 years, again, it just doesn't add up. And you're always just kind of searching for, like, what am I missing? Like, what's happening here? This is just, it's just on a daily basis. And even what we saw last night, them doing this premiere on the blue carpet, you just watch it and you just say to yourself, what in the world is going on with these people? It's just crazy to watch.
So let me actually let me tell you this. So, Joe, if you were the GM of the Cowboys, um, would you trade for one technique?
Yeah, I would already have one. I would have two.
You'd already have one, right?
Yeah.
So you're the GM, and so what would you have done at running back? You think?
Well, what I would have done at running back, and we talked about this a few times on our show, we did mock drafts the last couple of years. My son was really heavy into the mock drafts, and he was actually talking about doing content creating, and I really wasn't. It wasn't connecting for me. And of course,
Hmm.
I had no desire to be on a camera. But we did mock drafts the last 2 or 3 years, B.Bird, and in every draft, we took a running back.
Yeah.
So in the mock drafts this year, in the second and third round, we took Travion Henderson. We took
Hmm.
Judkins, who got in trouble. I haven't heard what the outcome of that was. You know, he went to Cleveland.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so
yeah.
to answer
Alabama.
your question, I would have rebuilt the running back room, and it would have been easy to do. The players were there. All they had to do was just take them. And this year they
So
took Ravel, the corner. He's gonna be
yeah,
a red shirt. They could have took a back right there. So I would have
yeah.
rebuilt the running back room to answer your question.
Yeah. So even last year off season, would you add sign one of the top two running backs that were out there,
I would
Saquon and
I would have signed Derrick Henry. Absolutely.
yeah. So here's the deal. You would have done that because what your mode is as a GM is to build the best team. I
Yeah.
have to if I can go, I can draft a player, but I don't think he's ready. I still need to sign a player that can play now until that guy gets ready. Uh, the reason why you would do that, Joe, is because this team is not going to give you long to win. Like they're not going to give you 10, 15 years to win. You got to win now. You need the players to win now. The problem with that is that two things. They don't have to win now. There's no urgency there. So what's going to happen if they go 0 and 17 or 17 and 0? It's going to be the same. Here's my biggest deal with the front office. Joe, you would do those things. Could I tell you why? It's not your money. So
Hmm.
your biggest thing as the GM is to get the best players. So if they say, well, if you get a player say, man, his contract gonna be high, and you might say something like, hey man, look, let's defer some of that salary and make the salary cap less so we can get this player. We need him. We can put some of that in some of those void years, but we need him now. That's what you're going to do. But the Joneses aren't willing to do that, right? Because, and again, Joe, you're going to do that because it's not your money, it's the owner's money. Here's the deal, Joe. If it was your money, you'll be like, man, I don't know if I'm signing that guy. Man, how much does he want? You see what I'm saying? That's what he'll be saying. That's what you'll be saying if it was your money. The Joneses, it's their money, so they take it personal. They don't want to, hey, I don't want to pay this guy, but well, that's too much. But if it's not your money, then you if your job is just to go get the players, I go get the players, make it work up under the salary cap, however I got to do. Man, in 5 years, you're gonna have all the money in 4 years. Hey, if I don't win today, I ain't gonna be here in 5 years.
Hmm.
So it puts an urgency on you, and plus it makes you spend all the way up to the cap because I have to fill the best team possible, especially since the two teams in my division made the NFC Championship game last year.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing right there, man. I think that's what's holding us back. That's why they won't do it because it's their money, and they need to have us. That's why I said they need not just a GM. People always say we need a new GM. We just need somebody to be the go-between ownership and players, right? We don't have that.
Yeah, and to your point, the thing that happened here is we're talking about the money part. I agree with you 100%. The crazy thing is, B-Bird, if they had a drafted a couple of running backs in the last three drafts, it wouldn't have cost them money. They could have just drafted them. Derrick Henry, when you look at his salary, it wouldn't have cost a lot of money. So if they're concerned about, the money, there were things they could have done to, put together a better team that would have been cost efficient. But
Yeah.
they are so like just goofy and so just off the reservation from a team building standpoint. They can't even make simple moves that will build a team that won't cost money. So that's kind of the problem that we have. They can't get either end of it right.
So you remember? I keep this in my mind. You remember the last high-ranking or top-notch free agent we got? You remember who it was?
Was it Brandon Carr?
Brandon Carr, 2012. The Joneses think that wasn't good value. They think they got God on that. So what they do is now they got PTSD behind it. They don't do it anymore. They signed Zeke to the highest contract as a running back. So now they're not going to do it anymore, right? They don't value running backs anymore. So anytime you have a GM with PTSD from a transaction that was made 13 years ago, that GM has been around too doggone long. So what they do is they don't understand that, hey, this is part of doing business, man. Like we're going to make Philadelphia make bad moves, right? But the thing is that they don't. Hey, they make bad moves, but they don't sit on their bad moves. They say, hey, we gonna keep on going. Yeah, We signed this guy as a free agent. I can't think his name last year. We signed him as a free agent, but he's not playing. But that's okay. We're gonna sign somebody else. They keep it going, man. They keep it going, and it's just what their process is. And but the Cowboys like, well, you remember back in 2012, we said, come on, man, that's a long time ago. And one thing too, I'm changing the subject a little bit. If you're going to be a draft reliant team, you can't have a 2023 draft.
Oh my God.
You
Well,
can't have if that's what you're going to be reliant on. You can't have a 2023 draft.
well, you're looking at the 23 draft. My prediction right now is Mozzie and Schoon, this time next year, they won't be on the team. So we're gonna talk about that in another show. So we're gonna go ahead and wind down. So Jules, you just joined. You got some comments and you want to close us out? Just talk
Yeah,
about the two channels.
yeah. I mean, I've been listening to the entire show, so it's been a great show. I've been listening to everything. I've heard everything. I just had a few comments. I wanted to read B-Bird my text message to y'all the other day, um, because it just everything he said. Yeah, I pretty much what I said verbatim. Um, it said, if I can get to it, really what it was talking about is the type of team that we are, type of team that we are. And let me see, I think I found it here. It says this is a typical front office defense. This hybrid linebacker, hybrid DT scheme, the scheme that they don't want to change because we'd have too much turnovers for players that don't fit the scheme, like Damone Clark and Mozzie Smith. Also, this is the scheme that wins against bad teams and loses against good coached,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, good coaches, good running tough teams like the 49ers,
Hmm.
Detroit, Green Bay, Ravens, Bills, and the Chiefs. So
Yeah.
that's that's just what this team is. That's how they're built, and that's what's up with the scheme. And then the only thing I want to say is that I hope that Steven, being I think that Jerry is more of like on the brand side of things. I don't think he's really running the football side anymore. I don't. I think Steven is taking over that and
Yeah.
has more, so more things. He has more things going on with the football team than at any other point. And I hope that he's the guy that can just go to the board meeting like y'all have been saying. I hope he's the guy that can sit down and say, hey, we haven't stopped the run in 10 years and this is what we're going to do to stop it, or this is we haven't won in 30 years and these three things right here, we're orange and the rest of these other teams are apples and we need to change this in order to be an apple. So I hope that he's that guy, because I mean, just thinking about it, I mean, you're talking about right now we're talking about humans. It's just like if my dad runs a business and then he gives it to me, and I noticed that what you want to see is you want to hope that Steven is the kind of son that says, my dad ran this business, he gave it to me, and we need to fix these areas, and I'm gonna be the one that fixes it. But it's a very high possibility that he's just like his dad, and he doesn't really care about that. So I guess we're gonna see, and I guess that's all we can do is just kind of wait. And then the other thing I was gonna say is that genius coach that y'all are looking for, that we want, the type A personality. I was thinking that, man, we had so much success in 2023 with the offense, and it was because of they said that it was like more of Dak and Shoddy running the team, running the offense, and so I'm hoping that that genius that you guys are looking for, that might be like with Dak and Shoddy, and CD and them running the offense together and using more you know
Motion.
yeah, using more motion. And but the word I'm looking for is more innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Dak that's saying, maybe it's Dak and CD that's saying, yo, you see what the Eagles are doing with this, or you see what Joe Burrow and you see how they was doing this, or you see that like Lamar could do well, like CD and George Pickens. Maybe it's them guys that say, hey, if AJ Brown and Devontae, if they can do this, then we can do this. We can do that better than them. You know what I mean? Hopefully, it's that type of environment to where it's just like it's them growing off of each other to say, okay, Dak going to Shotty and say, hey, we need to do this game right here, this is what we need to do to beat this. They run a cover two. We need to do this all game to beat that. And then the next game it's like, this team right here, they run cover three, but this corner over here, he weak. And this safety over here weak. So CD and Pickens, we gonna clown him all game. Hopefully it's that kind of, game plan going on instead of like how it's been in the past where I feel like it's like Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy and they just like, okay, we're running plays 1 through 50 in order, no matter what. It doesn't matter what game, it doesn't matter what this team runs. This team can run cover one and this team can run cover four. Play 25 is what we running no matter what. So it's just like, that's kind of how it be looking. But y'all had a great show, man. And so, I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. But like I said, when the OGs talk, I like to listen a lot because it just, reassures me that I'm on the same page as y'all and try to get as many nuggets as I can. So um I'm gonna fall back and let y'all close out. And I'm gonna throw B-Bird's channel up on the
You can
up
go
on
ahead
the
and
thing.
close us out. And
So okay, so yeah,
and
so
so
they've
the
been on
B
for a
Bird said
while.
he believes we were live on his channel.
I
Yeah,
think
I think we was live.
I
Okay.
think so, and we must
My son
be.
texted me and told me that he heard me. So
So that's one
Oh
of the
yeah,
things I was going to tell you earlier, B Bird. So as we kind of continue to work, we're going to just kind of work out whatever kinks we have, and we'll get everything smooth.
that's
And so
cool.
that when we
yeah.
do these shows, but yeah, we
We live on your channel.
okay.
Okay, great, man,
So,
great.
but man, we
Hmm.
appreciate you coming in
Oh,
and doing it. We're gonna just keep it going, and we're gonna do a show, and we may have to just do it on Wednesdays and just put it
And
slide it there
I just want to
if
tell
that's up.
y'all combination. I know I know on our channel, this is the most views that we've ever had on a live ever.
yeah,
Since
Okay.
since the, since the beginning of the channel. Today, this live right here is the
yeah,
most views that we've ever had. Y'all too. So
Yeah,
y'all,
the OGs.
yeah. So
Yeah.
for both of y'all shows, y'all gotta, we for both of y'all shows, y'all gotta do this because y'all gotta do this more often because
yeah,
apparently that's how you get the algorithm because it's a lot of viewers, way more than we've ever had.
And we want to
yeah,
make sure that people go in and subscribe to B Bird's channel.
Yeah, for
And
yeah.
sure.
so
Thank you.
we was one of his first subscribers. And so,
Hmm.
man, we just so excited. B Bird has his channel. He's somebody that we've been
Yeah,
following a long time.
Yep.
B Bird is to me, B Bird is right up there with the Vaches, with the bosses, and
Yeah.
those guys. So that's how much respect we have. So B Bird, man, we appreciate you coming
yeah,
on
no
again,
problem, man.
and we kind of we I think we're doing something that's gonna work, and then we also want to do something during the regular season that I talked to you about, and
Yeah,
we'll just talk about that because I think that's gonna be a lot of fun coming on after the games
Hmm.
yeah,
and just we want to see what B Bird has to say after the game,
Yeah,
like
no.
when it
That's
happens.
that's my favorite part. That's one of my favorite parts of Sundays is after the game.
Hmm.
Whether we win or lose, I want to hear what B Bird has to say because like I said, it's just like-minded people. When people like I just read that text message and you said that earlier. You said that and you named those same teams that I named. And it's just like,
hmm,
we just think alike and you think just like my dad and y'all got the historian thing going on and everybody B-Bird's channel. I put it on a thumbnail as well. Like on a thumbnail, you can look in the bottom left corner, and that's the actual screenshot of his channel. So you can put any of that in there, and it'll get to pull his channel up directly. It's on the thumbnail. So and then it's right here at the bottom too. So you
Okay.
can always just copy and paste this link
So
to it.
B Bird, you have any closing thoughts, brother?
yeah. So yeah, I would like to just say, man, look, it's just one game. Shot is hiding a lot of stuff. I think we're overreacting a little bit because it's a continuation of what we've seen before. Uh, we ran a little bit better, but the run defense looked a little shoddy. Pardon my pun there, but I think we do have to give them some time, man. This is the first game. We got to give them a little bit of time. I know we can. Like I said, it seemed like we've seen this all before, but we just have to wait, man. Shotty could be the one that gets us past the Joneses. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to wait, man. And I have to do that to myself. I had to talk to myself about that, right? Waiting. And so just if you look logically, we got to wait, give them some time, give them about 4 or 5 games, and then we can start making some, observations on what's going on.
Everybody say this. Does anybody remember what the first game of the preseason looked like last year? Because I don't. Because
Mm,
nobody ever does.
No, I don't either.
yeah.
Right. Because it's just not that it's not an indication of anything. It's
No,
not
it's
a
not.
so I mean,
Especially when we're not playing anybody. We're not playing any starters, so it's definitely not that.
not at all.
Yeah.
You can't even look at the scheme and say that it's gonna be the same scheme because it could be
No,
different. So,
he's not gonna give away any offensive plays or anything like that.
give Shotty some time. I mean, like I said, you're only gonna be as good as your stars is, and your coach is gonna give you some extra And we got some stars. Like I be telling people, I feel like Dak, CD, and Micah, and who we just draft? Who we just signed? His name?
Booker,
No, not Booker. No, who we just
A
got it?
Pickens?
Yeah, Pickens. I
Pickens. Oh
feel
yeah.
like they can beat a lot of these teams by themselves. So that's how I
Yeah.
feel. So,
Yep. Yep.
but we appreciate y'all for coming out. They've been on for 1 hour and 5, so we're not
Yeah.
gonna keep everybody long. And so we'll see y'all on the next one. Salute to you, Lou, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all stay tuned. Until next time, peace.
Appreciate y'all,
Hey,
man.
Appreciate it.
appreciate you,